video and the audio factors are clear. If I could get a yes in the chat box, I would just confirm with the technical terms. Is my video and audio are clear? If yes, you can just type a yes in the chat box. Okay, great. Yeah. So, Shaddad will slowly start with the discussion regarding workplace culture for today's session. Okay. And before that, we'll have a small brush up about what we covered in the yesterday's session. Okay, so that you'll also be able to cope up with the day-to-day aspects. So initially we covered what is industrial psychology, what are the scope and job related opportunities, what will be your role as an industrial psychologist inside an organization, things like that. And we also explained something related with the life cycle of an employee is the exact job profile of an industrial psychologist. We also discussed specific phases like recruitment phase, training and development phase, right? And performance evaluation, workplace culture, organization behavior. These were some of the basic general things which we discussed in yesterday's session. And we also tried to address the queries which was initiated from the participant side. Okay. So this was the basics. This was which was happening yesterday. And as I said, we'll also be posting the recordings of all the 3 days of the session. So even if suppose, let's say a few of you may have this internet issues or things like that. If that is also a case, you can still watch the recordings and you can make use of the session. But don't miss the live session, so that it will be a little more interactive when you are initiating with the live session. At very unfortunate situation that if you are not able to attend the session, you can still view the recordings. Every day we'll be posting the recordings maximum by 10 p.m. on the same night, and that is how things goes. Okay, great. So good evening to all, and I hope you all are ready for the an interactive session regarding the workplace culture. We discussed multiple things. We discussed about the basic factors regarding workplace culture. So now let me start with a simple, a very simple question here. What happens, okay, as a company, what happens when there is not a good supportive working place culture? This is the question, okay? You are working in a company or you are initiating your own company. What happens if your company doesn't have a good working culture? This is the question. You can share your thoughts or you can share your suggestions in the chat box. What happens when a company doesn't have a good supportive workplace culture? I am expecting your answers in the chat box. The chat box is open. You can always share your answers in the chat box. Similar to the way which we did yesterday, most of it will be covering the content till 8:40 or 8:45. The last 10 to 15 minutes will be addressed regarding the doubts. Loss to company, not able to produce good results, employees will move to other company. Okay. Productivity decreases. Yes. Employees will be stressful and bad relationship. Okay. Company will have no production. People will leave the company. There will be no strong bond. Yes. What are the factors? See, even if someone has mentioned your answer, it's totally fine. You can still type and mention it. It's all about your participation. Okay. Regarding the content or interactive sessions, even if someone has already said your answers, it's totally fine. You can definitely type your answers and send it. Turnover will be affected. Employee may not have a good working circumstances. Yeah. Okay. So obviously, as you all said, these are some of the basic answers. Like the turnover may be affected, the profit will be affected. The employee bond will not be there, and people may switch to the competitor's company, or people may switch to a different company, and they'll not be interested to work here anymore. Okay, they'll not be interested to work here anymore. So workplace culture, basically has two aspects to be very precise. Okay, one is because of a bad boss who's not supporting the culture aspects. The two is because of the ecosystem. Okay, the ecosystem is nothing but the employees itself. Okay, there are only two aspects in the workplace culture. The first is a bad boss or a bad leader, leading the company. And since the leader or the boss is not good with initiating the cultural aspective methods, the company is in the wrong position. This is one aspect. The second aspect is the whole company itself is affected with a very bad vibe. Okay, something like a virus or something like a zombie town. Okay, let's try to address hereafter that a bad culture or a company with a bad culture is literally you can correlate it with zombies. Okay, a bad uh, culture inside a company can be literally tried to be related with the zombies factor, or you can also try to relate it with virus. Okay, why bad culture or bad attitude is actually related to virus or zombies? You can share your thoughts in the chat box. I'll repeat the statement. Okay, let's say like if there is a person who has a bad vibration, if there is a person who has who doesn't support things or who follows a bad culture, he is literally considered as, or she is literally considered as a zombie or a virus. Why? Why should we give a metaphor of people who don't have that vibe as zombies or virus? What could be the reason? You can guess your answers. They'll spread their bad thoughts. Yes, yes. No teamwork happens. It spreads easily and unconsciously. Definitely, definitely. That's a nice answer. Because no benefit are given to the employees. Okay, okay. Why we are naming them as zombies? Why we are naming them as zombies? They create stress for others because no benefit. Okay, okay. Okay, okay. They are cold-hearted. True, true. Okay, demotivate others. Depression and stress. Okay, they are spoilers and creating bad vibes. Negative vibe. Not able to good maintain relationship in workplace. Yes, yes. They can create loss to the company. True, true. You would have. I hope you all would have seen this zombie movies, right? What happens initially? Of course, let the answers come in. Okay. What happens initially? Somewhere one person gets affected because of that particular virus or because of the zombie effect. Okay, and the whole ecosystem gets affected because of this virus. It starts spreading, as someone said. It starts spreading unconsciously. That is the very important term. Even without knowing us getting into a bad terms, we are trying to also get influenced by the bad companionship. So, if you are a HR professional and if you wanted to build a better workplace culture, you have to focus on two aspects. One is how is the leader, how is the boss, because that represents almost like 70% of the workforce. Like boss, like follower, or like boss, like employee, right? The second aspect is how the whole ecosystem itself is. Now, you may have a doubt that, okay, but how can we, of course, we can try providing awareness programs, we can try to build good people and things like that. But what is the root of building a better culture in an organization? Specifically, if you are from the HR professional sector, it is in your hands to build a better workplace culture. Now, let's have a small role scenario here. Okay, let's have a small role scenario here. Okay, you are hired as a industrial psychologist or a HR professional in a particular company. Okay, you are hired as a HR professional in a particular company, and the CEO is specifically mentioning to you that, hey, we are hiring you to make sure that we wanted to build a better culture in the organization. Now the culture is really bad. So what should we do? So what happens is the CEO gives you completely autonomous powers. The only expectation of the CEO is saying that, see, I am already in a very bad working culture. I know that the company is already becoming a very bad vibe. I just wanted to change it. I just wanted to work on the workplace culture. Now you have your own team. You have your own thoughts. No one is going to stop you. What will you do? What is that one thing which you will do to initiate a better workplace culture? Answers in the chat box. This is the scenario. Okay, a CEO specifically hiring you. Their only expectation from you, your side, is they wanted to build a better workplace culture, because now the culture is not that much good. So they wanted to change this. That's why they are hiring you. And your role is to bring a betterment in the culture. What is that one thing which you will do? You can share it in the chat box. Motivating the employee, okay, increases employees' facilities, complimenting their good traits, might be rapport sessions, might be the one and make it register in the mind, okay, good rapport should increase, okay. Everybody, like we have somewhere around 80 plus participants, like all the 80 people can share your thoughts. What is it one thing which you will do if you wanted to build a better culture in the organization? Good rapport should increase, okay. Skills of the employees should be found and motivated. Okay, create friendly environment and create stress-free situation in the company. Okay, you are missing a very important thing. I think almost everybody who are commenting are actually missing a very important but a very simple thing. Some sessions and tell them like raise their salaries, etc. Okay, healthy environment. Okay. Very simple thing, very important thing. What is that? I think till now, not much have commented about it. You still have answers. Motivate their positive thoughts, pointing good leaders, communication. Okay. Motivate the employees and provide a comfortable workplace culture. Okay, great. So, the first thing which you have to do if you wanted to build a better workplace culture is talk to the employees. That is the very first thing you have to do. Because as a HR, your knowledge about the ecosystem can be limited. But as an employee, they will have their own set of problems. As an employee, they'll be facing some sort of problems. And that is the replication of that. Okay, the bad culture or the bad vibrations is the replication of what they are being undergoing. Right? So the first thing and the very simple thing you can try to do if you wanted to address the culture of an organization is talk to the current employees. Talk to them, address their queries, exactly try to figure out where the problem is happening. It's very simple. It's very efficient, and it's always possible. Talking to the stakeholders will always help you to understand the problem a little more than Google. Google has answers for everything, but not for the actual stakeholders. When you talk to the stakeholders, what happens? The stakeholders I'm trying to say here is nothing but the employees who are working in your company, right? When you talk to an employee, the employee may have few concerns they have not addressed. They may, try to mention it to you, and you may have chances to, address the same issues and things like that. But it doesn't stop yourself from just talking alone. Imagine, I'm asking a feedback from you. Okay, you are giving me a feedback. Okay, I'm asking a feedback from you, and you are giving me a feedback. But from the next time, also, I'm doing the same thing. What happens? Okay, imagine you all are my employees. I'm your HR. Okay, I'm asking feedback from you, and you are giving me multiple feedbacks. You are giving me, see, these are the problems you have to address, and etc. For everything, I'm saying yes, I'll do it. And from the next day, I'm trying to do the same thing. As an employee, how do you feel? Share your thoughts in the chat box. As an employee, how do you feel? Even after you giving me feedback, I also say yes to it, but still, I continue the same things. How would you feel as an employee? You can share your thoughts in the chat box. The question is very simple, right? I'm asking you feedbacks, you are giving me feedbacks, but still I'm doing the same thing. How would you react? How would you feel? No respect, okay? My opinions don't matter. Yes, lack of interest to get into it, feeling like we have no use in giving it. True. Demotivated. They feel it's just a namesake survey. Yes. Very irritating. Okay. You cannot focus on work. Okay. Frustrated. Okay. Not loyal, uncomfortable, frustrated, feel bored, feel irritated and depressed. Yes, yes. Okay, okay, great, great. Obviously, these are some of the responses which we will be able to portray because we feel that we are not valued. So, what happens after that? We will not be able to, provide them feedback. Even if they ask for it, we will not be providing because we understand that okay, this is just a namesake term. Why should we actually involve in it, right? So, if you wanted to build a culture, you also have to make sure that whatever you are being addressed, you have to solve the addresses. Okay, let's say like if you are asking to your fellow employees about what is the problem happening, and you should also make sure that you are addressing the problem. You can't always blame the employees because of a bad culture. The HR professional is also responsible, right? So this is the basic aspect of approaching the workplace culture term. We have two aspects. I'm trying to give a small brush up. We have two aspects. One is from the leader perspective. The second is from the employee perspective. From the employee perspective, I said you that we have to talk to the employees. We have to understand what is the problem, and once we understand, we have to replicate it. We have to work on the problems. Now we also try to take it from the leader perspective. Understand that I hope you would have heard about 48 laws of power. Have you heard about it? It's a very famous book, 48 laws of power. Can I get a yes or no in the chat box so that I can understand how many people have heard about it? 48 laws of power. It's a very famous book related with power. Okay, okay. No issues, no issues. Okay, totally fine, totally fine. It's a very book. It would be my suggestion for people who are getting into leadership positions. Okay, you can also psychology plays a like 95% in that book. Psychology plays a role of like 95% in that book. It's a good suggestion for you. 48 laws of power. Okay, in that there is one power which says that never outshine the master. Okay, never outshine the master. As a HR professional, you have two aspects. One is employee aspect, the second is boss aspect. So when you wanted to understand or when you wanted to change your leader, definitely you have to explain to them that they are being very toxic, that they are being very bringing a bad vibration in the organization and things like that. But not every leaders will be ready to accept the negative feedbacks. Not every boss will be okay to accept it and work on it. If that is happening, what will happen? Obviously, you will be fired from the job itself. Right? Obviously, you'll be fired from the job itself. That's what I say in the 48 laws of power. That's a small one important law is never outshine the master. That is even though you understand that the leader is wrong, the boss is wrong, but it is your responsibility to make sure that you are informing them, but not disturbing their ego factors. That is the practical reality here. Now you may think that okay, if this boss is very bad, I may go to the next boss. I may work at a different company. Every boss or like almost every bosses have this ego aspects. There is no there are very few who don't have such things. Right? So are you going to talk or are you going to stand against the system, or are you just going to try to manipulate the system? Always prefer the second one, that is manipulating the system itself, right? So when you are understanding that okay, the boss is the problem, or the manager is the problem, or the CEO is the problem, make sure that you have proper numbers or proper facts for you to defend when you talk to the concerned person. When you explain it to the CEO or when you explain it to the leader, the very simple factor is either they may accept it or they may not accept it. If they are not accepting it, it may again get back to us. The problem may reflect towards us. So that is actually a problem which has to be addressed. So you have to make sure that when you are addressing the a senior professional or a CEO or a founder of a company, saying that see, this is why the company is having a bad vibration because you are projecting a negative vibration. 9 in 10 CEOs will not accept, not 12 CEOs, not even humans will not accept their mistakes, right? Humans will not accept their mistakes. That's it's a very simple nature. So you can always come up with back points that, see, these are the factors. When you behaved like this is what was happening in the company. When you behaved like this, when you took this decision, this is how it affected the company. Like that, when you talk with numbers and when you talk with facts, there are chances that the leader may try to understand it and they may try to work on it. So this is the two perspectives for you to build a workplace culture. Check whether it is a problem from the leader's side of the organization or it is a problem from the ecosystem side. If you are clear with these terms, okay, if you are clear till now, just type a yes in the chat box, okay. If you are clear, just type a yes in the chat box so that I could understand that, okay, things are going smooth and things like that. If you are clear till now, just type a yes in the chat box. Okay. Okay, great. We'll slowly get into the next aspect, that is, we are going to discuss regarding 4 types of work culture. There are only 4 types of work culture, and we are going to discuss about this. For your better understanding, let me, try to mention those 4 types in the chat box so that it will be a little more easier for you to refer as well. Okay. The first is clan culture. Okay. The next is adhocracy culture. And the next is market culture. And the last type of workplace culture is hierarchy culture. The first is clan, the second is adhocracy, the third is market, and the fourth is hierarchy culture. I think I had mentioned advocacy spelling is wrong. It is ADHOCRACY. That is the actual spelling. Okay. Great. So these are the 4 types of work culture which is prevalent in almost every systems. Whether you are working in India or US or any UK countries, this will be the most common or most commonly applied or used type of workplace cultures. One is clan, second is adhocracy, third is market, and the fourth is hierarchy. Okay. Now let's try to explain each factors in an individual term. Okay. The first is obviously it is clan culture. So what is a clan culture? What is the meaning of clan? First of all, it's nothing but a peer supporting group or a group of people. Okay, a group of people who are together. Okay, a group of people who are together. Yeah, I think someone has switched on your audio. Just try to check it. You can mute your audio so that it won't be a disturbance. Yeah, I think Ms. Varga Sunan. Okay. Do check your audio. You can just mute your audios. Great. Thank you. So yeah, said that the second factor is regarding with the clan culture. That is, clan is a word which gives the meaning of a community or a group of people who are supportive to each other. Okay, a group of people who are supportive to each other. To make it little more simple, clan is nothing but literally it would be represented as a family. Okay, clan is nothing but literally it would be represented as a family. Where you enter into a company, you are working in an office, you don't feel that it is an office space. You literally feel that people here are very supportive. People here are literally they are trying to encourage you. They are acting as a family. That is what clan working place culture is. Most of the time, clan workplace culture will be applicable in small companies where the employee number is somewhere around 20 to 40 or 20 to 50 employees. Can you say why? Why clan culture is mostly applicable only in companies with small number of employees, let's say like 20 to 40 employees? Why it is so? You can use your chat box. Evidently, you can mention your answers in the chat box. Why clan culture is specifically mentioned in a small group of people, let's say like 20 employees or 30 employees, basically the small companies. Why is it so? Guess. Easily communicate with each other, okay, because of the small number, because they cannot be controlled in large amounts, misunderstanding may occur. Okay, what else are the answers? Why specifically clan culture is applicable in only in small companies, not bigger companies? No so many decision making persons. Okay. So, the number itself says, let's say like if there are only 10 people or 20 people in a company, most of it you will be spending a lot of time with them. Okay, most of it you'll be spending a lot of time with them. You'll be trying to mingle with them. You'll be trying to support each other and things like that. But when the count slowly starts increasing, you'll not be able to get bonded with every single person in the organization. That is the very truth. To the maximum, you may have a good bond with your fellow team members, but not with every single person in the office. But imagine if it was just hardly 10 people or 15 people in the company. Every people will be, very much supportive to you. They may contact you often. They may talk to you often. That is how the actual case is. That is why it is called as clan culture, and clan culture is mostly used in the early stage startups where companies with the size of 10 to 30 employees or 40 employees to the maximum. Okay. The second culture which we mentioned was adhocracy culture. Okay. For references, I'm trying to type it again in the chat box so that you can refer with the word. What is the meaning of adhocracy? Adhocracy, to give you a general meaning, it is nothing but dynamic. Okay. Now, what is dynamic? It's nothing but adapting. Okay, adhocracy, in a very simple meaning, if you wanted to say or if you wanted to understand what is adhocracy is nothing but adapting to the changes. Okay, it is nothing but adapting to the changes. Now, what did I say about adhocracy culture? Adhocracy culture is usually applicable for the companies which are actually growing every month, every 6 months, or every 1 year. Say, for instance, when the company started, there would have been hardly 5 employees. The company would have slowly grown to 10 employees in 3 months, 50 employees in 6 months, okay, 100 employees in 2 years. And the people who are inside the company, even though in the initial stage they were working or they were behaving in the clan as a clan, once the company starts increasing, what happens? Companies slowly, specifically the company I'm trying to mention here is the employees. Employees slowly try to adapt to the changes. Okay, I'll give you a very simple example. Let's say like when a company was starting, they hardly had 20 people. You are joining in that company as a HR professional or a professional in the human resource sector. Okay, there will be hardly 20 people, right? So those 20 people can directly come to you and talk. Whatever the problems they are facing, they can directly come to you and talk. Now the company is slowly growing. This 20 becomes 100, 100 becomes 500, and as a HR professional, in the initial stage only you were there. Now there are somewhere around 10 plus HR professionals. You have your own team, okay. And what happens if there are 10 people? Few will focus on recruitment, few will focus on training and development, few will focus on performance evaluation, things like that. So what happens? Even the employee who was from there in the beginning, they can understand that okay, the company has grown, so the priority aspects also grows. So now I can't directly go to the HR. Either I have to go to the assistant or I have to go to the concerned HR. Concerned HR is nothing but there are HRs who are working in training and development. There are HR professionals who are working in recruitment alone. There are HR professionals who completely focus on the payroll, that is the salary, promotion stuffs and things like that. So according to the problems they face, they will come or they will go to the concerned HR. This is called as advocacy culture, or this is an example for advocacy. When the company is when the company numbers are increasing, when the company is pivoting, or when the company is going to the next level, the employees are also starting to adapt to the changes. Okay, so that is called as advocacy culture. We discussed about two cultures till now. The first is clan culture. The second is advocacy culture. Okay. Now the third factor. Okay. The third factor is something related with the hierarchy culture. What is hierarchy? Can you say your answers in the chat box? What is hierarchy? What is hierarchy? Up to you or according to you. A very simple question. What is hierarchy? Seniority. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So hierarchy is nothing but every company will have a particular category terms. Let's say like if we are taking the example of a marketing manager, there will be an assistant marketing manager. There will be a marketing manager. Okay. There will be a regional marketing manager. There will be a marketing manager of the country, or marketing head for India, marketing head for Asia, marketing head for Asia, Australia, and Europe continents, things like that. Basically, as you said, it can be like rankings or it can be positions, things like that. So this is called as hierarchical terms. Now, nowadays, most of the companies are actually not encouraging hierarchy. In the previous terms, companies were actually encouraging hierarchy for everything. There was some set of senior positions and things like that. But nowadays, most of the companies are not encouraging hierarchy because hierarchy is restricting us. Okay, hierarchy is restricting us. I'll say you a small example here. Let's say to make you understand the example of hierarchy or how hierarchy actually affects the ecosystem. Take the example of government officials itself. Okay, take the examples of government officials. When you take the example of government officials, like most of it, that will be a seniority terms. A person who had 15 years experience should definitely listen to a person who has 20 years experience. A person who has 20 years experience should definitely listen to a person who has 30 years experience. Even though the ideas can be good, even though the ideas can be really great, they have to focus on the seniority. Imagine you are a fresher, you get into a government official post, and even though your ideas are good, even though you are performing better than the other senior professionals, you still have to follow this hierarchy term. You can't implement few things, which obviously what happens, which is restricting the growth of the ecosystem. Even though people say that no, we have to respect the experiences. See, that is a very different term. Respecting the experience, respecting the person, that those are completely different terms. But what when at a particular situation when this hierarchy is becoming an obstacle for the growth of the organization or for the growth of the individual, that is where the problem actually starts. Okay, that is where the problem actually starts. Hierarchy is good, but it should also be healthy as well. It's not like no, I am your marketing head, listen to me. Okay, that is where the culture is actually getting affected. You would have seen this too much of manager jokes in the corporate. You would have seen this manager jokes in the LinkedIn and in the memes where people try to make fun of the manager and things like that. It is because of there are still people who try to misuse the positions based on this hierarchical concepts. If the company announces that there is no senior person, there is no junior person, everybody should be treated equally, what happens? There is no senior, there is no junior. Whether you have 5 years of experience or 10 years experience, no one is above you, no one is below you. If a company is announcing something like this, what happens? You can answer your chat. You can share your thoughts in the chat box. Can get good ideas. Everybody. Like we have 80 plus participants today. I don't know what happened. Like I feel a small, participation in the chat box. So make sure that you are mentioning your answers in the chat box. What happens if the companies are saying that there is no hierarchy hereafter? Everybody will be treated equally. No person is lower than you. No person is higher than you. What happens? Answers in the chat box. They can freely express their ideas, positive thoughts. Everyone will take their own path. Acceptance, creativity will be more in the ecosystem, and the whole system will be collapsed. Okay, 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 okay. Any other answers? Any other answers? Feel free to share their thoughts. Okay, too many cooks will spoil the soup. Okay, culture may collapse. Okay, okay. Who will be accountable? Okay, okay. It may also affect the self-esteem for a person who have more experiences. Employees working for a longer period may not feel so comfortable. Okay, okay. Management will be less efficient. Okay, okay. Okay, fine, fine. Like that's what I said. See, accountable is a different term. Let's say, like, I'm an assistant HR manager. I have to report to a senior HR manager. Reporting or being accountable is different. Okay, and initiating the hierarchical dominance is different. Reporting and accountable is totally fine. Okay, even of course that comes in the hierarchical terms, but then the same hierarchical term makes us think that I'm a senior HR manager, you are a junior HR manager, you have to listen to me, right? Then what happens? That is where the problem actually starts. So it should be something like a balance, right? You should not misuse the position. At the same time, there should be some person who you need to be accountable to also, because being accountable helps us to be more responsible regarding the process or the operation of the company or the organization, right? So it should be something like a balance. Hierarchy doesn't mean only accountable, but people are also trying to make use of the hierarchical aspects and misusing their positions and things like that. That kind of culture should be avoided in the organization. Now let's come to the last part. That is nothing but the market culture. Okay, that is nothing but the market culture. So when I want to explain about the market culture is nothing but a combination of clan, hierarchy, and advocacy. To make it very simple, market culture is nothing but a combination of clan, hierarchy, and advocacy. There will be hierarchies. There will be adaptable changes in the employees when the company is growing. There will also be initiating a bond factor. Let me give you a small example here. Let's say, like, any famous companies which you say, it could be Tata's or it could be Infosys. The reason I'm specifically mentioning these points are there are high chances that people who come from this particular organizations have this bond. They also respect the hierarchy. They also are getting adapted to the changes as well. Okay, very few companies in India can be represented under these terms. These values were not built in a single day. These values were built by the leaders. These values were built by the employees step by step. That is how the values were built. So to say about market culture is nothing but a combination of, you can say, a proper combination of market culture is nothing but a proper combination of advocacy, a proper combination of the other two factors also. Okay, that is how market culture works. If you see the most successful companies in India, let's take the industries like Tata Industries or the companies like Infosys, companies like TCS, right? The reason this company has become so much successful is it has followed a market culture where they are adapting to the changes. They are also trying to have a bond among their employees. They are also making sure that there is a good hierarchical system, not a dominant hierarchical system, but a good hierarchical system where everybody is accountable to someone, which also helps us to work even better as well. Yeah, so these are the 4 different types of work culture which we discussed in the today's session. To sum up with the sessions, we discussed about workplace culture in the beginning. Then we slowly discussed about the 2 aspects of workplace culture. Okay, one is from the leader perspective, because if the leader is wrong, the whole system can be wrong. Okay, imagine Mr. Ratan Tata being a greedy person. Imagine Mr. Ratan Tata is not much visionary. He is very selfish, and he just thinking about his own financial needs, and things like that are happening. What would have happened to Tata as an industry? The whole industry would have been very, very different, which has been compared to now. That is the reason I'm specifically mentioning that if a leader is wrong, the whole system could be wrong. So when you are when you are working on the workplace culture in your organizations in the future, when you are working in a company, you have to work on these two aspects. One is whether the leader is good or not. If the leader is not good, try to address them, try to talk to them, make them understand with facts and numbers. Don't just bluntly say that you are wrong. Remember the thought, remember the laws of power. When don't outshine or never outshine the master, right? And the second perspective is with the ecosystem. Ecosystem here mentions about nothing but the employees. So what was the one thing which I mentioned specifically? A very simple and an important thing is talk to your employees, understand what is the problem. Not only talk, also address the problems as well. Because if you just talk and leave, they will understand that, okay, this is just a random survey. He or she will ask to me, then they will again do the same thing. People may lose trust from or towards you. Okay. So these are the two aspects. Then we discussed about the four types of workplace culture. One was clan, second was adhocracy, third was hierarchy, fourth was market. What is clan? Clan culture is nothing but supporting each other, similar to a family. The second is adhocracy, that is adapting to the changes in the organization, whether it is small or big, linear or hyper, just adapting to the changes. The third is hierarchical culture. In hierarchical culture, we are not supporting the dominance part, but we do support the part where people should be accountable to a senior professional, things like that. The last is market culture, which is a combination of proper clan, adhocracy, and the next one, that is the hierarchy. Okay, so these are the factors related with the workplace culture. I hope you would have got a clear understanding about workplace culture now. As I mentioned earlier, it is the important role of a HR professional to make sure that the company's culture is good, because that is going to attract talents, that is going to retain talents as well. What is attract talent? When imagine if your company is having a really good culture, it may spread like a word of mouth, and people may be really interested to work in your company. That is how a good workplace culture will attract talents. How it will retain the talents, that is like how it will be sustaining the talents. Because if your culture is really good, why your employees are going to leave the company? They'll not, right? That's why I said a good working place culture will be helpful for you to attract the talents as well as to retain the talents also. Okay. Hope you all had a clear understanding about workplace culture. The feedback, sorry, not the feedback, the Q&A sessions are open to now. So we'll have somewhere around 5 to 10 minutes of discussion regarding the workplace culture topic. You can ask whatever doubts you have in the chat box. I'll try to make sure that I address every single question in the chat box. What is the question you have regarding today's session? Or if someone was not able to ask your doubts regarding during the yesterday's class also, you can still ask it. It should not be there's no need that you have to limit yourself to only today's topic. Any doubts you have, you can always ask. You can ask your questions in the chat box, and we'll try to address it in the session. Okay. Can you explain the meaning of clan again? Yeah. Yes, Dhanlakshmi. The meaning of clan is nothing but a set of people who are supportive to each other, something like a community. That is the meaning of clan. The clan culture is where you are working together like a family. What does family do? Family tries to support you. Even if you make mistakes, they'll try to help you. If you do good things, they'll try to encourage you. That is what basically the clan culture is. Yeah, yes, Sharmila. The market is nothing but a combination of clan, hierarchy, and autocracy to an extent. 30%, 30%, 30%, something like that. Any other questions? Any other questions? You can just mention it in the chat box. We'll try to address it. Okay. Please explain the advocacy culture once again. Yeah, definitely. Advocacy culture is nothing but you are adapting to the changes. Okay. Imagine you went into a company when the company was somewhere around 50 employees. Okay, where everybody were asked to take individual responsibilities and things like that. There was no system because it was very small. The company itself was very small. Anyone and everyone can directly go to a particular person and talk. But when the company is expanding to 500 or 5,000, you should initiate a system where a proper set of work allocation will be done and things like that. Adhocracy is nothing but adapting to the changes in the organization, from small to big or from hyper to linear. Any other questions? Any other questions? You can mention it in the chat box. We'll try to address it. Don't hesitate to ask questions, as I mentioned earlier. Even if you have doubts apart from today's topic, you can still ask it. Yeah. So yes, Harsha, companies, when they're adapting to the changes, it may affect the employees to next. So what we can, as a HR professional, what we can do is we can try to give them a basic idea of how the next 3 months are going to be, how the next 6 months are going to be, and things like that. Okay, this will help the employees to get an understanding that okay, the next 3 months is going to be something like this, so I can expect something like this, because as a HR you would be knowing where the company is going to grow, how much the company is going to grow. So you also have to make sure that your fellow employees are knowing about it. That will help them to an extent. Even though we provide them with the facts when they are wrong, if they don't listen, then what should we do as an employee? Okay, we should stop talking. That's what I would suggest. Okay, because what happens is, I'll try to say from my experiences when we will be mentioning it to the leaders, but the leaders, because of their ego issues, they'll not be ready to accept it, or they'll try to deflect the points, or they'll stand against the points. So to the maximum, what we used to do is we just stop saying to them, and once they get the actual taste of actual taste of the poison, they realize that okay, the HR team was correct. So we try maximum to explain it to them, and if they are not able to understand it, we just wait. We just stop talking, or I mean, stop saying to them. And once there will be a situation where they itself will realize it on their own. From at that particular point, we can take it from there. That is what you can do to an extent. Whether all employees in organization with the organization people in psychology. No. Most of it, people from the psychology background will have an understanding about this. People from an MBA background will also have a basic understanding of how things works, how behavior is actually impacting the organization in the long run and things like that. But the employees from a different perspective will have very, very less idea about this. But if a person can't able to manage the relationship. Okay, Shanmugapri, I think I'm not able to exactly understand. I think there was some autocorrect in your sentences. I guess. Do check. Just you can reframe your question again. I'll try to address it. Okay. Then the market culture and the benefits in the workplace culture. Okay, the market culture, as I mentioned, it's just a combination of adhocracy. It's a combination of clan. You will be adaptable. You will be supportive, as well as you will also be following the hierarchical terms. The benefit of workplace culture, the benefit of market culture in the workplace is companies who are actually following the market culture are becoming more successful in the long run. Companies like Apple, if you wanted to say any example from the US, you can say the best example would be Apple, and companies like Goldman Sachs, the consulting companies, McKinsey. These are the companies which actually follow the market culture, where that is the reason of their humongous success. The benefit of following a market culture is nothing but getting a humongous success. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, maybe we'll wait for 1 to 2 minutes, and we'll try to check if there are any questions. If not, we'll try to wind up the session for today. Okay. So okay then, I hope okay, industrial psychology can be implemented in what all fields? Almost every fields, then Lakshmi, wherever the humans are working, whether it is a manufacturing sector or a software industry or an advertising industry, it can always be implemented in every single setup. Wherever the humans are working, industrial psychology will also be implemented there. There is no specific restrictions or specific industry restrictions for that. How to specialize? Yeah, as I mentioned yesterday, an eligibility is you have to get a PG degree, but to specialize or to upskill yourself, you can enroll in skill related programs. You can enroll yourself in internships. You can try to join a company as an intern while studying itself. Such kind of inputs would help you in the long run. Okay. Okay, great. So I hope almost everybody's answer questions have been answered, and yeah. So thanks for it joining for the second day. Tomorrow is the third day, and tomorrow is the last day of our 3 days industrial psychology crash course. Um, without skipping, do try to attend the third day of the session also. Similar to today's and yesterday's session, we'll make sure that I'll try to give you the best input ever, and definitely Chanakya will be providing you a better learning experience, similar to the last 2 days as well. Okay, thank you. Yeah, definitely, Lakshmi. You will be getting a participation certificate after this 3 days of crash course. We will be updating you regarding it in the tomorrow session. You will be getting a certificate. This is a certificate based crash course. You will be getting. Thank you. Thanks for the time. Thank you all.